And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of the KSL of the Korean StarCraft League, week number 37. Whew, it's good to be back. Good to be back after a day break. We, of course, did not cast yesterday for the first time since August. We had a day off. I slept all day. It was beautiful. I also streamed a little bit as well. We did well. But it's good to be back here on the CranKy Ducklings casting some Korean StarCraft. And speaking of, here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of side Delta, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing himself. He's currently teamless. There's some news, there's some big news going on, and I'm still waiting for this player to find a team. It is DRG. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Terran player, the blue Terran representing Mystery Gaming. It is Oriana. Here we go. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. Again, the bracket is stacked. Plenty of players are upon us, and we are here to just sink our teeth into this lovely KSL. Of course, what I'm referring to is, again, DRG, one of the few big name Koreans that is still without a team, still deserving to be on one. Cure found Team Liquid, Gumiho found Cloud9, DRG still looking. And the reason why I bring that up is because it was recently announced a couple of hours ago, or this morning, Spirit did join Na'Vi, which is really good news. Na'Vi, of course, I'm sure like many of the big new orgs looking to sign players, especially with Gamers 8 around the corner. There are like bonuses provided, and that's why I'm pretty sure that's theorized as to why Cloud9 and Na'Vi have both invested into StarCraft, which is a good thing. And also the big theory of course, Gamers 8 being the New World Finals, especially with the change to IM Katowice, and also with the introduction of another season or another circuit of DreamHack being added to this year of StarCraft, which is it's a little bit messy. It's it's a little bit messy, but basically the quote-unquote EPT year of StarCraft has been extended like another 4 months, like another 4, 5, 6 months. Which means IM Katowice is no longer the World Finals. It's most likely going to be another event instead. So that it's you know what, we're acclimating. It's it's fine. It's all coming together. It'll all come together in the end. I'm sure. Yeah, some big shifts, some big changes on the horizon when it comes to the EPT season and teams as well, which again are good things overall. Good things. As we're kind of easing into our game here, we're getting into a TVZ. Of course, big reason for joining this is Oriana. We have been casting plenty of him in our own weekly tournaments in GPO, Grand Platypus Open, and other, of course, regional events. But he's up against DRG, one of the big names here in Korea. Recently, DRG did take down Byeon, so his TVZ is not looking too bad. DRG, his ZvT not looking too shabby at all. We'll see if Oriana can make a dent in him, as for now, just going for a standard opener. Behind this, getting to his 1-1-1. That was a third CC before Starport, so very economic follow-up here from Oriana. Very standard stuff, which you do love to see. Nothing too fancy. Going Hellion into Liberator. No add-ons up, no Banshees. Okay, we're good. No Banshees, Papi, as Hellions and Reapers are going to be dipping on out. Again, vying for map control, vying for control of that creep, and yeah, we're just kind of easing ourselves towards the mid-game. Nothing too fancy. DRG is just kind of droning, rotating with his queens, making sure he's able to keep up with all these Hellions. Meanwhile, the Hellions are soon to be reinforced, and Oriana is soon to hit the field with that Liberator as well, trying to pull apart the queens, trying to get some economic damage done here in the early game. He's on it. He is on it. There we go. Liberator's now moving out. We're just banking up our Hellions back at home, going for the add-ons up. Oriana, as a player, he's more of a bio-oriented player as well. Very fast, very fun to watch. So again, that's why I'm excited to see how he can try to pull apart a player like DRG. So Hellions have hit the field. Now going to be 6 of them. And again, they are kind of distracting, pulling the queens over towards the center. We do have a Spore finishing up 2 more queens in the main base. We are ready for the Lib, at least in the main, but the Liberator does go to the third base instead, and we're going to deny some mining time. Don't quite get a drone. Not yet. as the Liberator is going to be forced back. The Hellions don't find a way in either. Now, what's important is that we haven't lost anything yet. We haven't thrown anything away, as the Liberator is queued up into the main base. Does take some extra hits. Quick reaction out of DRG, rotating over with his Spore as well. As the Hellions, they dive into the mineral line. They get 3 drones. They get the hell out of there without losing a single Hellion. Not too bad. Not a bad moment. Not a bad moment here for Oriana. Meanwhile, we do see DRG going across town with a massive link flood. He's aware that the Hellions are out of position. The wall! The wall is not a wall. We bust into the natural base. We can actually get us around with these Marines. Ooh, and the Marines, they're going to get cleaned up again. A bit of a late reaction out of Oriana. The Lynx, they get into the natural. They get into the main base. The Hellions are racing back home, but SCVs are going down. Again, Oriana, he killed 3 drones across the map, and he's going to lose 3 SCVs back at home and also lose all these Marines. I'm afraid to look, but that was 8 dead Marines here for Oriana. Just resetting the Marine count, forcing everything back home, giving DRG a lot of breathing room to double expand, taking his 4th and his 5th base at the same time. One opportunity is all he needs for DRG to get out of control here, getting into 1-1 upgrades, Lair in production, Baneling Nest about to finish up to get into Baneling speed, DRG easing his way into the mid game in a pretty solid fashion here, and Oriana stuck at home and can't really do much. Like, ideally he would have liked to have followed this Hellion drop up with a double medevac drop, right, with 16 Marines. Alas, we just lost more than half of those Marines, which means we cannot move out, or if we did, we'd have significantly less to work with and less to threaten DRG, and Oriana, he's stuck at home, at least until he builds up that Marine count. Now we're moving out. Significantly less Marines than we would have liked to use, but we have to do something. We can't just stay at home. We have to move out, we have to be active. And the goal here for Oriana, try and deny some of these bases if possible. Whether it's this northern hatchery or here towards the south. As we're going for the stim and going for the dive into that would-be 5th base. But alas, Lings are here. Banelings are in position as well. We will force the pickup. Behind this, DRG is taking up towards Hydras, so he's going Ling Bane Hydra, has the freedom to tech up into Hydras as well. Can be considered to be more of a greedy thing to do, but he's on it. Meanwhile, back at home, we have another gas geyser being taken. Second factory's on the way. Oriana should soon be working on his 4th CC. Everything here reads like, again, a 4-base setup, not going for a 3-base all-in. We are moving out here with a couple of Widow Mines. What's interesting is that we're going for a Widow Mine heavy composition, not tanks. So we have the mine push here from Oriana. We're threatening that northern base at the same time. DRG getting ready from behind. We're getting ready for a surround even. Oh boy. A lot of this is going to come down to the mine shots. And here we go. DRG from behind the mine shots. Oh, doing a bit of friendly fire. Do connect with some Lings. But for the most part, there's just too much Zerg. Oriana, he gets surrounded, gets swallowed up. And he is going to be losing everything here. Again, it was kind of a rough road for Oriana to get to this point, and losing his army like that, losing most of his army even, he escapes with 4 Marines and 4 medevacs. He does have that 4 CC on the way. Again, Oriana, he's attempting to get into a longer game, but can he survive that long? Because DRG is going to max out soon, and once he does max out, then DRG is going to push. For now, he's just kind of absorbing the blows of Oriana. He's just kind of keeping up with the movement, keeping up with the movement, with the pushes here of Oriana. But once he does reach that 200 supply, there's going to be nothing keeping DRG back at home. Up! Ooh. That's some decent mine hits. A detection still a ways away here. There we go. Is now going to clean up these mines. Meanwhile, Oriana, in the midst of taking his 4th base. When it comes to these pushes, again, he has to still be active. He has to move out and apply pressure to keep DRG at home. I mentioned before that once he does max out, he is going to be pushing, and that's something that Oriana cannot deal with. Up! Oh my god. Widow Mines will go down, and speaking of pushing out, DRG now breaks free from his container, hits the 3rd base, moving towards the 4th as well. Looks like he does run into some resistance towards the north, but he takes down 13, 14 SCVs. And he can keep pushing. Busting in towards that natural waste of mines they have borrowed, but they're gonna go down as well. And we break into the natural. At the same time, Oriana, he's going to be going for a split push. He's going to be hitting the 6th base and the 5th here of DRG. But he's losing his natural. No. is still losing that natural base. Meanwhile, when it comes to his pushes, he's being cleaned up as well. Unfortunately, was not looking. GG gets called, and DRG will take game number 1. GG. A solid game there from DRG. Again, able to keep up with his opponent for the most part. Able to keep up with the Hellions, the Liberators, and eventually the pushes as well. The big moment for DRG, again, it happened pretty early on, but it was a moment where he gained momentum and he never really lost it, was his lane counterattack. Killing those SCVs and killing all those Marines. Again, it may have only been 3 SCVs, it may have only been 9 Marines, but like at that moment, that early on, like that means everything. And yeah, it was enough. It was enough to give him like a lot of breathing room, a lot of freedom there in the early game, and to shut down his opponent. And with that, we're getting into game number 2. Game number 2. It's gonna be on Oriana. Just getting some extra casters in here. Again, if you want to support the KSL, there are plenty of other coverage going on by Chicken Man and Dave Testa. Again, without them, this event would not be possible. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, Slowbro did it in the chat. KSL in the chat to get a link to the Patreon. And of course, on said Patreon, we do, as I probably should add us to Team Liquid, actually. I forgot. I forgot back. One moment. But again, the Patreon is set up to support KSL, to get replay packs, and to fund the Korean scene. There you go. As we're getting into game number 2 and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Oriana, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing himself, leading the series 1-0. It is DRG. And spawning the top right hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Chinese Terran representing Mystery Gaming. It is Oriana. We go. Yeah, we have 2 commands. We have exclamation mark KSL for the KSL Patreon, and we have our own, where we also fund our own tournaments. Unfortunately, even though we do host events for different regions, not as successful as KSL, but no reason not to support the KSL. As I believe Macrocosm in the chat mentioned, there is potential for a SummerSlam. We did have one earlier this year. We were lucky enough to cast it, and the VODs are available, of course. It was a great event. It was a 3-day event, qualifier into a 2-day playoff bracket. It was really good stuff, so yeah, do recommend it. Do recommend checking out and supporting KSL. Good stuff. So we're going to be getting into game number 2. Oh, so far, again, Oriana not flinching, still going for a Rax expand, nothing too crazy. Wants to go straight up head-to-head here against DRG, and I respect it. Definitely respect it. Again, Oriana, in my eyes, has been one of the rising stars, in the Asia scene, not including Korea, of course. EPT Asia, maybe a better way to put it. Players like Oriana, Firefly. Obviously Firefly is the big one. But yeah, it's been really cool to see them like improve over the year and thrive. It's been good stuff. So Oriana is going to be sending out his first Reaper across the map. Going to be dancing with the units here of DRG. Trading with those lings, and so far again DRG doesn't quite lose anything yet. Did invest into an extra pair of lings, did go up to 6, but the queen comes out. DRG gets away with his 3rd base as well, again going into his going for its hatch gas pool opener. Everything looking normal and economic from DRG. Likewise, that is a 3rd CC before starport, so economic opener out of Oriana. Even though game 1 may not have gone Oriana's way, again, he's unwilling to like go all in or be hyper aggressive. And we have a different opener this time. Remember, winding it back, last game we saw Oriana go into a 3cc before starport. Technically that's true this time, but this is going to be a 3cc 2-1-1, as that is a 2nd Rax. So we are shifting things up a little bit here for Oriana. Now with this variation of opener, obviously there's no lib, there's no BG harass. We're going to make a handful of Hellions to support to gain map control, this is true, but we're going to be building up a marine count, working on the stim timing with eventually those medevacs. Now this is going to hit a little bit later, around like 5:30-ish, so there's a bit of an upside and a downside. The downside to this opener here is that it does become online really late, and it means that DRG is going to be able to drone up quite freely for quite some time. He can be greedy, he can cut corners, he can delay his link production. Oh. No, not I did notice it. And it looks like I am disconnecting from Battle.net. I don't know what it is with the Korean server. Yeah, I have to surrender. No. I'm gonna have to surrender. But yeah, this is not the first time this has happened. Specifically this week, for those of you that were here for ESL Asia, I disconnected from Battle.net in ESL Asia as well, and now here in KSL, I don't know what it is. But for whatever reason, my connection to the Korean server, or to Korean Battle.net, is just really shaky. So with that, we're going to be missing out on the remainder of that series. Again, obviously, our internet is fine. Like, I'm connected to OBS. I'm connected to, I mean, hey, like, I'm still here. I'm still, like, in-game. But for whatever reason, this week, I've been struggling to stay connected. I don't know why. It's, So, yeah, with that, I'm going to be going on a short break. We'll be back with our next series, or with game number 3. Smurge. But yeah, I know what it is. It just for whatever reason, my routing to Battle.net is shaky. It's fine on the America server, it's fine on Europe, but for Korea this past week, it's been, yeah, shaky. Smurge. All right, well, with that, yeah, we're going to be going on a break. We'll be back with our next game, hopefully. Back soon.